folks, welcome back to the channel. Mile High Beach here, and we are on a tear. Well, not really.
Sort of.
Sort of. We're still trying to get through these 2021 campground reviews. It's pretty crazy, but we're making it.
But we're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah. And we will be soon into our 2022 list.
I know. And then here's the exciting thing, right? So we're going through all these 2021 campground reviews, and then when we get to the end of it, we're going to give you our top three. Where's the camera? Top three 2021 picks, because we're really checking this stuff out. All right. So today's campground review is the Uncompahgre River RV Park, and this is in the fine city of Olathe, Colorado.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if you've never heard of it, neither have we.
Neither have we. And I bet you didn't know that it's the corn capital of the planet. No, not just the corn. Sweet corn capital of the planet. Yes.
Yeah. And it's in basically the southwestern corner of Colorado.
Yeah. We spent the entire summer in Colorado on what's called the Western Slope. I had never even heard of that. And so it was really nice. This was their first stop, wasn't it? On the Western Slope?
Yes. It was our first stop.
Yeah. So our first stop on the Western Slope. Very exciting. All right. So some nearby attractions for this one. We actually went to the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, which was super exciting. National Park, yeah. That is an amazing park. It's a little different from some of the other ones. It's more of a, ride around. You can do some hikes.
You can do some hikes, and because it's such a
canyon.
Just canyons. Yeah, you're basically looking into this. So yeah, it's a little different, but you can do some hiking. There's definitely some nature, wildlife, or we're keeping track of like the animals that
animal sightings.
that's spotted there on a board there. So there's lots to see. But it's not I guess like you said, maybe a typical wild national park.
Whatever that is. I mean, we're finding that there's almost nothing typical, because even the one that we just went to while we're staying where we are now, very different from other ones that we've been to. All right. Wine tasting, of course, whenever that's available, we want to check that out. So we did some wine tasting. We went to the James M. Robb State Park, and this was the state park system, where there were 3 different parks.
5?
I
think it was 5.
Oh, that one was 5. What was the other one that was the 3? Remember, there was the 3 parks on the way to Ouray?
Oh, yeah.
What was that one called?
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. We'll put it at the bottom. Yeah. So the James Robb State Park, that was a 5-part, really interesting, 5 different parks, all part of the same named park. We went to Ouray, which was lovely. That's close by. Box Canyon is in that area as well. The $1 Million Highway is in this area. Colorado National Monument, and the town of Ridgway. And the town of, maybe it was called the Ridgway.
Oh, that might have been it.
State Park. Yeah.
We'll look it up. We'll make sure.
Yeah. We'll figure out what was going on. This was a year ago. Listen, it's hard enough to remember what we had for dinner last night.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So we stayed there. I mentioned this. We were there in the summer, so we were there from July to August. This does have full hookups, which is nice. So water, power, and sewer. And no issues with that. Were there any issues?
No.
Pretty straightforward?
No, I think there were no issues there.
Yeah. So concrete or gravel slab. This was as you ride through the park, that was asphalt, and then part of it was dirt. Which, remember how we had to kind of go around that weird loop and then pull in on the driver's side?
Yes. Because it's a mix of spots. It's some pull-throughs and some back ends. And I think they tend to, like many parks do, give the pull-throughs to the shorter stays. So we had a back end, and we had to back in. It was at the kind of the rear of the park, I guess. Kind of the back end. Yeah, we were the last spot on our side in the park, but we were on a concrete slab. So once we got through all the asphalt and then going around the dirt thing, we got into the concrete slab. So that was nice. Access or road issues. There weren't really any. I mean, I don't remember what highway we came off of. I want to say it's 50, but I'm not certain. I believe it's Highway 50.
Yeah.
Colorado Highway 50. And there was no issue coming in off of that.
Yeah.
There's a little side turn, a side kind of street that you turn in off of that to come into where the park is, but that's not even that far. You go to the train tracks and you go down into what looks like almost a residential area, but not too far. And then you turn left, and basically you turn into the park. And the park entrance was pretty wide. It had the had the one track that came in, and then the flower island in the middle, and then the other side had the exit. So it was plenty of room.
Yeah. You know, a thing to note about this area is it is an agricultural area, you know, with the sweet corn and everything else. Because when we drove into that neighborhood before we turned into the campground, some of the housing over there kind of looked like it was, you know, farm workers and stuff that might be living there. So yeah, just something to note. Lot spacing. You know, I thought it was pretty West Coast ample.
I think it was fine.
The spot we were in was great because we had, like I said, we were the last, not the last one, but the second to the last one on the side that we were on. And we had this big green space next to us and in back of our RV. And there was a big space back there and then trees. And then there was a river right behind us. It was very nice.
Right, the Uncompahgre River ran behind the campground.
Yeah. Very, very nice.
And then we were, like you were saying, we had kind of, they weren't camp hosts, but more permanent folks. The guy that worked and did the wood carvings. And then even our neighbors that were to the other side, they were pretty far away. I mean, so it felt, like you said, West Coast ample.
Yeah. And we'll put some pictures up of the wood carvings because that's one thing you definitely notice in this park is all the wood carvings as you pull in, as you're walking around. You really notice it. And, so we'll put some pictures of that because it was amazing. The guy that did all this lived right next to us. He was a kind of a permanent resident there. And he took those wood carvings somewhere.
Yeah, he went to go sell them at various shows in the area. Yeah. So they were really, really cool pieces.
Yeah. Wi-Fi and cell service. We had no problems with the Wi-Fi or cell service there. I mean, there's been some places where we've had issues. Right. And for whatever reason, we either have to leave or we've got to make some adjustments. But we didn't have to do that here, and I don't even remember there even being
I don't think there was any issues there. Yeah. I think we use Verizon. I think that's typically our primary service. Or we might have been using AT&T at that time. So, yeah, it was AT&T. So anyway, I don't recall there being any issues. With that.
Yeah. Laundry facilities. Yes, they had a laundry facility. And we didn't use the showers, but they had showers, and it was all in the same area. They also had it was interesting because it was sort of during COVID, even though this was 2021, it's still sort of during COVID. And so you had to sign up to go into the laundry room. Like, you couldn't have a bunch of people in there at once. So, like, if you wanted to do your laundry.
It wasn't a very big room anyway.
No, it wasn't that big. And they had windows for ventilation, which was nice. And they actually had a good number of washers and dryers in there. But you would sign up for like a 90-minute spot, and you'd go in there and you'd do your laundry, and then you'd be done with it. But so I kind of like that because I don't want to have to wear a mask in there. So there you go. Let's see what else. Other amenities. So they had a nice community room, and it wasn't really widely used because of COVID. But they had a community room. They had a community area. They had a pond. We'll put some pictures of the pond and the walking path. I mentioned the river right behind us. They did have some campground activities, but things were on pause, not just because of COVID, but the owner's wife passed away unexpectedly, like right before we got there. And so a lot of it was on pause because he was still just trying to run a business and doing the best that he could. Pet friendly.
Yeah, it was pet friendly. I mean, they had the trash bags and trash cans, where you could get the bags, and they were spread out pretty well. So we didn't have to walk very far. Because even where we were where we were, like you said earlier, there was a dirt road that came in, and so we could kind of walk that road. And there was 2 cans, I think, on either end. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely pet friendly.
Yeah. One other thing I'll say about this park is it wasn't a huge park. I don't know how many spaces were in there. I don't remember what slot number we were, but I don't think there was more than 42 spots there. So it was nice. And we were sort of, it was kind of 2 sections. There was the front section, and then there was the back section. And we were in the back section.
And on the dog-friendly note, just one other thought. They didn't have a dog run.
No.
So it was, the dog needed to be leashed.
Yeah.
But they did have plenty of trash cans, like I said, and plastic bags.
Oh, yeah. That was great. I appreciated that. Good management. It's a family-run business. There was a little bit of confusion again because of the owner's wife passing, but once we got in and got settled, everything was great. He was fantastic. He delivered our mail to us. He was really nice.
He was really good.
He
was great.
Yeah. So the next one is Groceries in the area. We were just kind of reviewing this before we did the video, and we're like, I don't remember going to the grocery store. And I'm the one that goes to the store, but I couldn't remember.
And we were there for a month.
Yeah.
So we were like, we know we had to go get some groceries.
Yeah.
From somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So she comes up with the genius idea of looking at my Instacart history, because that's actually not a place that I would have expected there to be Instacart, because it's a really small town.
Yeah.
But there was Instacart. There was a natural grocer. There was a Walgreens. There was a Target. All this must have been in Montrose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was really nice. Yeah. So there must have been a Ace or a Harbor Freight or True Value.
I think there was. I just don't remember.
I don't remember it either. And we clearly didn't need anything from there because we didn't go there. Yeah. So, yeah, if all that other stuff was in Montrose, I'm guessing that there had, maybe not Camping World, but at least a hardware store.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Mail service, yes. Some campgrounds don't allow mail service. And so it's good to know, when you're out on the road, if you're full-time or even if you're going to stay for a couple of weeks, you want to know if you can have an Amazon package shipped there, so on and so forth. This one was great. You could have a packages shipped there. They had cubbies out in front for the permanent residents, and even I think for people that were staying long-term, they would have your stuff out in a cubby, or it would be inside the community room, or they bring it by your...
Or they deliver it.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Very nice, yeah. So we had a number of special moments here. This was a really great spot for us. We really enjoyed the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, that national park, getting to experience that. We went up in there, we went into the visitor center, and if you go into the visitor center, there's all that decking that's around it. Remember, you went down and you could take some photos and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely something to see. We did an overnight stay in Ouray, and we stayed at an Airbnb. We'll put some photos of that. And Ouray was how far?
About an hour.
Okay.
About an hour.
Yeah. Schweitzer Lake Park was just a little local park in the area. We went to that. We met our friends Don and Bubba on 2 different occasions. We met them in Montrose at that barbecue.
At a restaurant. I don't remember what it was.
We'll put the name of that.
It was more about meeting Don and Bubba.
Yes, it was. And then we actually met him again. We actually met, where did we go?
We went to Grand Junction. And then met some friends of theirs live in, I think, in the Grand Junction area. So we met them there at the restaurant. And met their friends. So that was fun.
It was great. Yep, and then we met Chris and Carrie at the Montrose Farmers Market.
Which was very nice.
I love that farmers market.
It was great.
Yes, that was a great farmers market. I had some of the best lettuce I've ever had in my life. I'll put this picture of the tomatoes that I was going to say. My tomatoes picture. I put it on our frame. Just beautiful produce, just absolutely beautiful. We also had Chris and Carrie over for a brunch. Yep. So those were part of the special moments. Top 3 and bottom 3. What would you say?
I think top 3. Well, we just talked about it. The Montrose Farmers Market.
Yeah.
Just really enjoyed that farmers market.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They had lots of good just stuff. You bought earrings there.
I did. I found a silversmith there. Yeah.
Good produce.
Produce is amazing.
That one guy that had any biscuits or something. The guy with the
oh yeah, the guy with the biscuits.
Yeah,
oh, and then
wasn't
this the place where the guy was roasting the peppers too? Was that at this farmers market?
That too?
Roasting remember the green peppers?
Yeah. So it just had a lot of really cool things.
Very cool, and it wasn't a huge farmers market, but it was really really good.
Nice.
One other thing I want to put in the top is we went to Ridgeway Pride, and that was the first Pride in that area. We met Chris and Carrie there too, but that was the first Pride in the area, and I think it was called Ouray Pride. Yeah. And the way I found out about it is we were at the state park, and I was talking to a very nice woman there.
You were buying the state pass.
I was buying the state park
Colorado
pass.
State Park pass.
Yes.
And got to talking to the person there.
The lady there was so nice, and she said, "Oh, you're from San Diego," and then we started chatting about that, and I said, "Oh, I was explaining, my wife and I are full-time RVers," and she's like, my sister and her wife are going to Pride. You might want to go. So she gives me the photo of the event, and so we actually got a chance to attend that and see the parade and just be a part of that. It was great. Yeah, it was really great. We talked about meeting Dawn and Bubba. That was, in both instances, that was great. Oh, you know what? Listen, this is part of the top 3. So this is one of the first times, maybe in the top 2 or 3 times that we backed in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we have pull-in spots, right? So we pulled into this campground, and one of the camp hosts was going to help us, but we said, we're still trying to learn and blah, blah, blah. So he exited pretty quickly, but we sat in the front of that truck for a moment. We paused for a moment. I got out on the walkie-talkie, and this one backed that sucker in 20 minutes or less. We were out cheering and doing
high fiving. So
that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Yeah.
And so because you are good at guiding, providing direction. So the teamwork was good.
Teamwork was great.
We got in that parking spot in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that was memorable. Yeah, I actually even spoke about that at the FMCA conference because that's a big deal. Because times before that it takes us like an hour. I mean, the spot we're in right now it takes us 2 hours. Variety of reasons.
Yeah, we'll
talk about it in the campground review.
We'll talk about that in the campground review for this place.
Stay tuned. Yes.
And then, so bottom 3?
Yeah, bottom 3.
Mosquitoes.
The mosquito game was crazy.
The mosquitoes were crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because we were right on that river.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But I couldn't even take Charlie out for a walk in more than 5 minutes. If I hadn't sprayed up or put some stuff on to try to mitigate that, I would have bites immediately. So the mosquitoes were definitely, they were out.
They were out.
Hungry.
Out. They were out. And we had to leave I think we left the deep spray at the bottom of the stairs. It's like, don't even take it in the rig. Just leave it outside.
Yeah, just left it outside.
So you don't forget it. Yeah. The other thing on this bottom list is the way this park was situated. There was, like I said, there was the spaces that were in the front. Many of them were pulled through, and then the spaces that were in the back. All the spaces that were in the front had all the nice trees. I mean, these were really mature trees.
Yeah, they had like really mature, beautiful canopy of trees that provided really nice shade.
Super.
If you were in those front spots. Unfortunately, we weren't in. Again, we were in that because we stayed for a month. They had us in a spot that was toward the rear of the park.
Yeah.
I guess for more of their long-term, guests, and so unfortunately, didn't have the mature trees.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have. Did we have any shade?
We had none. And it was funny because I actually took a picture where you can see where the shade just like stops. And then you get all the way to the back where it's nice and hot where we were.
Yeah. So
that
was unfortunate.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a bottom because we were there in the summertime and without the shade, just makes it a little more uncomfortable.
Yeah. I have this in the bottom 3, but I don't know if it's a thing necessarily, but when we're in an RV park, one of the biggest things for us about being in RV parks is safety. So we're not boondocking, we're not just out, on the range, without other people around us. So that's a trade-off, right? And we understand that. So a big thing for us is safety. And so when I see the police ride through the campground a couple times a day, I'm like, well, that's curious.
We did ask about it.
Yeah.
And they said
it's just part of security.
Part of what they do. I mean, it's a small town.
It's a super small town.
That's part of their, I guess, their check is to just roll through the park.
Yeah.
So I think, the first couple of times we were kind of like, what's going on here?
Should we be concerned?
Should we be concerned? Is there an issue with the neighboring houses
right?
or something?
Yeah.
So, but I think, in the month that we were there, I mean, they just would come through the check. And it was just a safety check. I think they were just literally just making sure everything looked okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know that they were expecting to find anything.
Yeah.
I think that was just what they did.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with it. It's just that when you see it the first couple times, you're like, should we be backing up our stuff? Should we be bolting our stuff? Should we lock? I mean, we always cover our stuff, lock our stuff up, have everything safe and secure, but we just were wondering if we needed to do a different level of lockdown. Yeah. So now we're at the last thing. Would we give this park a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a sideways thumb? Now remember, the whole point of these campground reviews for us
primarily
is the fifth wheel perspective on is it big rig friendly. Remember, we are a 44-foot toy hauler, fifth wheel. So, what would you say?
I would say, yeah. I'd say
We would
thumbs
absolutely
up.
give it a thumbs up.
We could do that. We could, and if we had one of those front spots with the trees, because it wasn't that the spots weren't big enough.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, they just put their longer term people in the back.
Yeah.
So, but I would definitely say it's a thumbs up from a big rig friendly perspective.
Yeah. And what about Charlie? Do you think
Charlie wants to? He wants to.
He wants to do his own paw.
He's gonna say, Charlie, was it a paws up? He's like, yes, it was.
You enjoyed it, didn't you, Pookie? You liked the little pond and the little ducks. Yeah.
He liked all the sniffs.
Yeah, he did.
So
he really gets into the sniffs.
Yeah,
Big
he really does.
Well, I think that's it. That is the Uncompahgre River. That is really hard to say, by the way. And when you see the spelling of it, you're like, how exactly do I pronounce that? Uncompahgre River RV Park. Yes. So that's it. That's our story. We're sticking to it. Look forward to the next one. And if you've ever stayed at this park, we'd love to know what your take on it was.
Yeah, and if you've ever heard of Olathe or you like sweet corn, let us know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and if you like this content, definitely do like, subscribe, notify,
share.
So you know when we're, going to be releasing our next video.
Yeah. We try to do it every couple of weeks. And if you're watching this on your TV, we appreciate that you're watching it because that helps our, I'm going to hit the mic here. That definitely helps our channel. Watch hours really matter. And if you would not mind going to your phone and if you would give a comment, because, comments, likes, shares, all that stuff matters directly on the YouTube platform. So thank you very much for watching. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Wow.